and welcome to this third session of STDP on computational intelligence in earthquake resistant design. So today we have with us today's our expert speaker, Dr. Rajan Wankhede sir, and we will have a good interaction with him. And I again thanks to all the participants that you are showing the good enthusiasm for attending this webinar. And now I will request our co-coordinator of this STDP, Dr. Harle sir, to introduce the speaker.
Good afternoon, all of you. Good afternoon, all of you, and welcome to AICTE sponsored 1 week short-term training program on computational intelligence in earthquake resistant design. Today we have with us in this section Dr. Rajan Wankhede sir. He is assistant professor in Government College of Engineering, Nagpur. He has completed B from Government College of Engineering, Amravati in 2007. Post-graduation from Government College of Engineering, Amravati in 2009. He has completed PhD from IIT Bombay in 2015. He has postdoc fellowship selection in Department of Biomedical Engineering and Mechanics, Virginia Tech, US in 2018, as well as Division of Ocean Science and Technology, Tsinghua University, China in 2016. His academic teaching experience of around 8 years. He is assistant professor in Government College of Engineering, Nagpur from 30th July 2016 to till date in UG. Earlier, he was assistant professor in Government College of Engineering, Karad from 2010 to 2016 for UG as well as PG. He has published 16 research papers in international journals, 13 international conferences, 7 papers in national conferences, and he has published 4 books. His specialization includes finite element analysis, composite structure, analysis of smart structure, development of HOSP theory for thick beam and plate, as well as non-destructive testing. He also completed consultancy projects in under WRD, Chandrapur, Yavatmal, and Amravati. Also, ongoing project is Nagarpalika Parishad in Chhattisgarh. He has organized around 5 FDPs as well as 2 conferences. He has qualified Maharashtra Public Service Commission, Maharashtra Engineering Services Examination 2009. He is a teacher at RTMNU Nagpur University. He is also PhD examiner of Pune University. He is a keynote speaker of various faculty development program, short-term training program, as well as conferences. He is also reviewer of different journals consisting composite structure, sensor, and actuator. He is having the membership of Technical Institute. He is a life member of ICI, Indian Concrete Institute, also Institution of
the principal of the Bardnera College of Engineering and Management, Professor Ali sir, for giving me the opportunity to talk in front of you and deliver an expert lecture. So I will share my presentation now. Okay. So this is the okay. So today I am going to talk on the important provisions of revised seismic code IS 1893 part 1 2016. Dear all, we know the different codes for the construction. There are so many codes. If we talk about the RCC, we have the basic code of IS 456 2000. IS 456 2000 gives the general guidelines for the RCC construction. But in IS 456 we have the criteria for the dead load and live load. Now, when the subject comes for the ductile detailing, earthquake, then IS 1893 and IS 1390 plays a major role. And hence, Indian Standard or Bureau of Indian Standard has developed the seismic codes. And these seismic codes are the IS 1893 and IS 13920. Again, there are many codes which deals with the wind effect also, IS 875, and other codes are there. So there are hundreds of codes on the different specialization. So IS 1893 is one of the code on the seismic provisions for earthquake and the structures subjected to the earthquake loads. So I will talk on the important provisions of revised seismic codes IS 1893, which is of 2016. Okay, so I will start now. So we have the general specification that we use. For that we use the IS 456 for the construction of RCC structures. Now we are moving to the RCC structures which are subjected to the earthquake load, seismic load, and the wind loads. And hence IS 1893 deals with the seismic forces and its effect and general guidelines for the seismic provisions. Why we need the seismic codes? The requirement for designing of these RC structures to give them the sufficient toughness and ductility to resist the severe earthquake shocks without the collapse. Because we are developing a structure which should resist the earthquake forces without the collapse and which should sustain the forces and its impact. We have the material in use for the general construction. We have concrete and steel. So concrete is sufficient to take the compressive forces, but it is the brittle material, and hence we use the steel, that is the reinforcement, and it is called as the ductile material. So for tension we use the steel, compression we use the concrete, and for even shear stresses, shear forces, to account for the shear we use the shear reinforcement. So all this plays a major role in the ductile detailing, that is for the earthquake provisions. Yes. So talking about IS 1893 revisions, the first IS 1893 was put forth in the year of 1962, and IS 1893 gives the recommendations for the earthquake resistant design of structures. And first time the revision was made in the 1966 for the IS 1893. The second revision of IS 1893 was in the 1970. Some modifications and small changes were made from 1960 to 1970's IS code. Third revision of this IS code was brought up in 1975. And fourth revision, which we use for the longer duration, that was in the 1984. After 1984, the fifth revision was in 2002. The 2002 revision was based on some specific guidelines, and further the IS code, which was only one book in 1966 up to 1984, that one book was converted into the 5 parts. And those 5 parts are part 1, that is IS 1893 part 1, which use the general provisions and buildings due for the earthquake loading. Part 2 is specific for the liquid retaining tanks, that is for the ESR, GSR, and the water tanks and the other tanks which compose of the liquids. IS 1893 Part 3 compose of the guidelines for the bridges and retaining walls. The forces on bridges, retaining walls, and the ductile drilling part is given by the IS 1893 Part 3. IS 1893 Part 4 deals with the industrial structures, including stack-like structures, and the Part 5 of the IS 1893 deals with the dams and embankments. Why there was a need of IS code for all these different parts, that is from Part 1 to Part 5, because all structures are different. The building structure which is prone to the earthquake forces, and for bridge retaining wall, the impact of the force is little different, and both the guidelines cannot be used for these different types of the structure, and hence the guidelines for each and every type of the structure was differentiated and was bibled in the different parts of the IS code. So I'm going to talk on the part 1 of IS code. This is for the general provisions, and it is applicable for the building frames with 5% of damping. And again, IS 1893 mostly deals with the RCC construction, but 2016 IS code gives some guidelines for steel also by considering the different damping ratio. We know the earthquake. We have heard about the Richter scale. Magnitude of the earthquake, intensity of the earthquake can be measured and defined by the various scales. Now, out of these, there are some minor earthquakes with less intensity. There are moderate earthquakes and there are large earthquakes. In minor earthquakes, they happens many times, but we do not feel the shake of the minor earthquakes. In moderate earthquake, we can feel the shaking of the ground with some small structural damage, which occurs, that is moderate earthquake occurs number of times in the lifespan of the structure. We know the general lifespan of the structure. For building, it is some 50 to 100 years. For dams, retaining walls, bridges, it is having the lifespan as specified by the codes, and we know it. Some ancient bridges even last for the 150 and 200 years. Now some RCC bridges last only for 70 years, 50 years also, and some collapse during 20 years also. Code-based design consists of the seismic coefficients, which are used for the calculation of the forces and the reinforcement details. Now, if we consider the large earthquake comprises of the structures which can go with or without collapse, but having the severe damage. Where modern earthquake has less damage, but large earthquake can have the severe damage to the structures. Large earthquake occurs once in life of the structure, not always. Large earthquakes are not created by the codal provision, seismic coefficients are not catered by the codal design, seismic coefficients. And additional resistance by the incorporating details for ductility are given by the seismic codes. So we will have to consider the moderate and large earthquake for designing our regular structures, which consist of the building, bridges, water tanks, then retaining walls, etc. Now, while going for the construction of the structures, we always go for the simpler the plan, better the performance. Means we go for the regular structure, symmetric structure. We avoid the unsymmetrical structure for the torsional effect, having some eccentricity, and to counterbalance the excessive forces and moments, we go for the simpler plan for the buildings. Figure shows some figures of the buildings which are having some irregular shape and some having the regular shape. We are using the two materials, that is the RCC, PCC, and one is the steel for the construction. The figure shows on the top side left hand corner the strong column weak beam. Now we go for the strong column and weak beam as per the IS code provision, because column takes the reaction from the beams and the beams take the load from the slab. The load from the slab comes on the beam. Load from the beam in terms of the reaction comes on the column, and hence excessive load coming from the slab and beam is transferred to the column, and hence column should be strong. What if the beams are strong and column are weak? If beams are strong, beam take the load from the slab. Beams are strong, having the greater depth, the loading self weight of the beam increases, and this load transfers on the column as a reaction. And if columns are weak, the reaction coming on the column from the beam will not be sustained by the column, and it will lead to the failure in terms of the compression and sometimes the shear also for columns. And hence weak column is not prepared. The strong column lintels are necessary. Then we have the previous incidents as the Bhuj earthquake, Latur incidents, Bhuj from 2002 incidents. All these incidents occurs in some 2002 and previously incidents. From those incidents, the IS code was differentiated into number of parts in 2002 because there was a need to specify the general guidelines for each and every type of the structure separately. Bhuj earthquake, the soft story effect was considered or was observed in the Bhuj earthquake, and hence the podal provisions was made in the terms of the soft story, weak story. The specific definitions for the soft story and weak story were given in the IS code, and again in IS 2016 rather than 2002, the definitions of soft story, weak story are little change that we will discuss. Provision of the shear wall along the periphery, along the direction of the forces of earthquake are prepared. So these are used to counterbalance the effect to provide the greater stiffness to the wall in terms of the wall. Those are the shear walls, that is the deep beam reinforcement walls. And these walls are to be provided along the periphery, along the symmetrical part of the building, along the different axes. Base isolation is one of the techniques to counteract the earthquake forces. It introduced the flexibility in the structure to counterbalance the impact and shocks and vibrations. So these are some figures which gives us the uh, clue for going for the different seismic podal provisions and to use the different devices. So base isolation is one of the device. Again, there are some dampers. Dampers are used to absorb the shock, that is called as the shock absorbers. And dampers are of various types: viscous dampers, friction dampers, yielding dampers, and viscosity dampers. Depending on the, there are some lead rubber dampers also. Again, the upright system used recently in Japan for the extreme earthquakes, for avoiding the shaking or vibration of the structural elements of the building frames. So all this was the basic to go for the data detailing. Now we have the members. We have the flexure members. We have some members which act for the shear. So we have the beam as a flexure member, column as the compression member. Beam, column, and it comprises of this structural frame. So combination of beams and columns in a proper arrangement leads to the structure, which is the building frame. And for designing the frame, we use the members as a flexure member for the beams. Why it is called as a flexure member? Because it carries the bending moment. Beam is the flexure at center of the beam where the maximum load occurs, and at the support it acts the shear are to be it is to be designed for the shear. The bending or flexure members are to be designed as per the IS 456, but detailed detailing is to be carried out by the codes of the earthquake, that is the special confined reinforcement. The members for which B bar is greater than 3 and width not less than 200 mm. Width and depth of the beam and the criteria for this are also revised. It should not be less than 200 mm or the thickness of the wall. Depth of the member shall not be more than 1/4 of the clear span for the flexure member. and hence it again gives the deep beam criteria or small depth. We have the reinforcement which are called the longitudinal reinforcement, stirrups, shears. So for longitudinal reinforcement, these are used for resisting the building cracks. The top and bottom reinforcement shall consist of at least 2 bars throughout the member length, and it again depends on the moment and shear how many bars are to be provided along the longitudinal direction, that is the longitudinal reinforcement. The figure shows the longitudinal reinforcement at top and bottom as a longitudinal figure. We can have the cross section of this figure showing the 2 bars at the top and 2 bars at the bottom, and it should have the development length specified by the IS codal provision. We take as 47 times the diameter of the reinforcement. Wave reinforcement, plane reinforcement, we have transverse reinforcement used as the stirrups. These reinforcements are used to prevent the longitudinal bars from the buckling. It holds the bars in its position. That is also one of the use of the transverse reinforcement as the stirrups. The figure shows the stirrups at the support. It is the confined, and as we go away from the support, the spacing between the stirrups are increased. The minimum spacing between the stirrup should be maximum spacing at the support should be 100 mm, not greater than 100 mm, and minimum as per the calculation. First stirrup should be placed at a distance of 50 mm from the space from the face of the column. Transverse reinforcement for the another type of the structures, beam column joints. The development lengths are shown here. At the center of the column, confinement of reinforcement is to be provided at some distance. At the junction of beam column, confinement of reinforcement and the reinforcement spacing increases as we go away from the beam column junction. Now the specified or specifically given by the IS 1893. In conjunction with the IS 1893, I will talk on some codal provisions of 1390 also to understand because both are the specific codes and both are having the correlationship in terms of the confinement of the reinforcement. The minimum dimension of the column shall not be less than 20 times capital DB, where DB is the diameter of the largest longitudinal reinforcement in the beam, or it should be 300 mm. So we are not allowed to go less than the 200 mm for the dimension of the column. Minimum column width should be greater than or equal to 300 mm. That is specified, or it should be greater than or equal to 20 times the diameter of the bar. If we are using the bar of 20 mm diameter, 20 into 20. If we are using the 16 mm diameter, 20 into 16. So the dimension of the column as per the rule, 20 times the pi or 300 mm, whichever is greater. As per IS 1390 also, the calculation of the shear force capacity contributes, or it shall not be considered the bent up bars, linked links and concrete RC section, but the calculation should be based on the proper shear force capacity. No deduction shall be made because of the bent up bars. That is the provision. Because in many times we deduct the dimension by using the bent up bars and we go for the less reinforcement that is not provided by the IS code. We have the previous IS code of 2002 and the latest of the 2016 for the general guidelines of the building frames and earthquake criteria. Structure design as per these standards are expected to sustain the damage during the strong earthquake. Means a structure should be built in such a way that it should sustain the damage. It should not get collapse. That is the criteria of IS 2016, which was not intended in 2002 of IS code. So the drawbacks of the IS 1890-2002 are little improved by 2016, and some guidelines are revised in 2016 IS code than that of the previous IS code. The map of the seismic zone, which was given in prior IS code, so when it was the first or second IS code, the zone were divided into 5 parts: zone 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Later on, the zone 1 and 2 were merged, and it was started from zone 2, 3, 4, and 5. And for this zone, the zone factors are specified. So this is the old seismic zone map, and from old to new, we have come to this seismic zone map, which gives the seismic zones at different parts of the India. And these seismic zones are divided into these 4 parts: zone 2, 3, 4, and 5. And all these zones are having some specified intensity of earthquake. Zone 2 is having the 6th intensity, whereas zone 4 and 5 are having the intensity greater than 8 and 9. And hence, seismic zone, that is the zone factor Z, is represented for different zones starting from 0.1 to 0.36. We take the zone factor in calculation of the AH, that is horizontal seismic coefficient. Now, we in previous IS code we have given the emphasis on calculating the horizontal seismic coefficient. In the revised IS code, horizontal as well as vertical seismic coefficient has given the prime importance, and not only the EQX and EQY, but the 3-dimensional EQ, that is EL, earthquake load, is to be calculated given by the codal provisions. This is the incorporation is the latest ISO, that is 2016, which was not given emphasis in ISO of 2002. Now we know the formula for AS, horizontal seismic coefficient. What is horizontal seismic coefficient? Horizontal seismic coefficient is a coefficient required to find the base shear. Formula for base shear is VB static equals to AH into W. And what is AH? Seismic coefficient, and W is the seismic weight of the building. How do we calculate the seismic weight of the building? We have the weight of the slab, we have the weight of the beam, we have the weight of the column. If we have 3-story, 4-story building, we will calculate the seismic weight of the building at each story, starting from top to bottom. Weight of the 4-story, W4, W3, W2, W1, and addition of W4, 3, 2, 1 will give to us the W, that is the seismic weight of the building. And seismic weight of the building, entire weight multiplied with AH, will give us the base shear VB static. So Z by 2, I by R, and 2 SA by G. The formula for AH is given in IS code, page number 9, 1890-2016. Z is the zone factor, depends on the zone, zone 2, 3, 4, 5, 0.16, 0.2436 up to 36. SA by G, design acceleration coefficient for different types of the soil, hard soil, soft soil, muru. All these codal provisions are given in the IS code. I, importance factor. Now little change in the 2016 IS code. R, responsibility factor. Now we are having the dimension of the building frames. We are having the floor of the building frames. We are having the bay in X direction, and we are having the bay in Y direction. And depending on this criteria, with soil information, hard soil, soft soil, importance of building, we will find Z depending on zone. We will find SA by G depending on the time period, we and soil of this structure, soil beneath the structure. We will find importance factor, and we will find the R, is for relation factor. All these we will find from the IS code, and taking all these factors, we will multiply all these with seismic weight by using the formula, and we will convert the seismic weight of the building into the base shear at different levels also. And hence this is the formula for calculating the seismic forces. Now I will give little importance to this, that is the design of vertical seismic coefficient. In our curriculum, in our syllabus, we always calculate the AH. In earthquake engineering of MTech structural, we calculate the force, the seismic coefficient AH, and from AH only we calculate the VBX, VBY, VB static, and we distribute this VB in terms of the QI, the base summation of WHI square upon WHI square, that is the QI. And for this QI, we only calculate QIX, QIY along X direction and along Y direction. But what if the building is unsymmetrical? What if the building is provided on the sloping ground? If the building is on the sloping ground, we will have to consider the vertical seismic effect, not only the horizontal. And hence, for calculation of the vertical seismic effect, the formula which was given by this Z by 2 into SA by G upon R upon I, simply writing as Z by 2 I by R SA by G. For AH, we will convert this formula, or as per the IS, it is given by the AV, that is the vertical acceleration coefficient, and this is given for building frame. It is having the another coefficient as per 1893 part 1. For liquid storage tank, the formula is little change. For bridges and covered bridges, it is by different. Piers, abutments, this is different. For industrial structures, it is different. So this formula is to be considered for designing the vertical acceleration coefficient for the vertical motion. And where this vertical motion occurs, this occurs on the setback type of building, setback, step back type of building, where the vertical sloping ground is available. SA by G ratio is given for the different types of the soil, and it depends on the time period. And how to calculate time period, that is also given by the codal provision. And hence SA by G for different types of soil and for response spectrum method, and this is given by the formula given in page number 9 of IS 1893. Generally, we will for hard soil, we will take it as a 2.5, and also if T lies between 0.4 to 4, we will calculate T. T depends on the planar dimension, height, and the base width. We will see how to calculate T. After calculating T, we will find the SA by G, and we will put this SA by G value in the formula of AH. Yes. Now for calculation of time period, in the previous codal provision, we generally use the formula, that is the lowermost formula given in the bottom of the slide. TA equals to 0.09 H upon under root D, where H is the overall height of the building and small d is the base dimension of the building. Now it is for the regular type of the building. But what if the building is irregular? If the building is resting on the sloping ground, if the building has having the base width different and at some other floors the width is different, and hence these figures, that is the 5 figures, are given for considering the overall height and d. For a building which is having a part which is under the ground, so that is to be neglected, and the part from the ground is to be considered as a H. D is the dimension of the base, which is taken as the overall D, that is the larger dimension of the building under the construction. And for the setback, step back type of building, D should be considered from one end to another end for the entire building or the building or structure under the construction. Now, TA, that is the time period for the MRF, moment resisting frames, without the masonry in place, is given by 0.075 H to the power 0.75 as per the codal provisions, 0.080 H to the power 0.75 for the steel composite buildings, and for steel moment resisting frame 0.085 H to the power 0.75. Now, if the building consists of the shear wall or structural walls, so for shear wall type of the building, TA is having the formula 0.075 times H to the power 0.75 divided by the under root AW, and this should be greater than or equals to the basic formula 0.09 H upon root D. And in this formula, AW is called as the total effective area for the shear wall. Okay, and for this small h, AWI, LWI, that is given by the codal provisions, and hence the incorporation of this formula for the shear wall is the addition in this IS code 2016. So there are some irregularities of the building. Okay, so we know these some irregularities, that is the plan irregularity, stiffness, and mass irregularity, that we know. For plan irregularity, we know if the building is not symmetric about the both axes, that is x and y, we will call it as the plan irregularity. L type of building, T type of building, T-shaped building, this comes in the plan. Unsymmetrical arrangement of the shear wall also lead to the plan irregularity. Then we have the stiffness and mass irregularity. Steepnesses at different floor of the building changes leads to the stiffness irregularity. The arrangement of the different masses, that is the structural masses, leads to the mass irregularity. We have the vertical irregularity also. The sloping ground, step back building. Base width is different for some floors and width is different at some top floors of the building. That is the vertical irregularity. Again, it comprises of the arrangement of different structural elements along the vertical position leads to the vertical irregularity. All these are given in the IS 1893 page number 15, 16, and 17 and 18. These irregularities are to be considered while calculating the seismic forces and while the ductile detailing and for the arrangement of the different elements of the structural. And all this depends on the stiffness criteria. Now we will move to the codal provision as per IS 1893 Part 1. IS 1893 Part 1 known for the general specification and for the building frames. Using the IS 1893 Part 1, we calculate the base shear, that is the lateral force, horizontal force, and this QI is to be calculated per story or per floor along the different direction as a X and Y. So we will have the VBX, VBY, QIX and QIY, and we calculate it in our curriculum of MTech engineering structure. Now for this, the formula is same. QI is given by VB. Suppose we are calculating static, so QI equals to VB static, WI HR square upon summation WI HR square. WI, weight of the individual floor starting from top to bottom. HI, height at that floor, and summation of WI square means summation of the entire. That will lead to the QI multiplied with VB. So building shall be designed for the design lateral force of VB given by VB equals to AH into W, and we have seen how to calculate AH. General formula for AH, Z by 2 I by R SC by G if we consider horizontal force, and AH AV if we consider vertical forces. AH will be AV as given by the formula for acceleration coefficient for vertical loads or vertical motion of the earthquake. For seismic zones, the building shall be designed for at least the minimum design earthquake horizontal lateral force given by different seismic zones, and for H is less than or equal to 120, its percent should be 0.7 for zone 2, 1.1 zone 3, 1.6 zone 4, and for 5 it is 2.4. And if height of the building is greater than 200 mm, these seismic for different seismic zone, the percentage of this given of this force is given by 0.5, 0.75, 1.25, and 1.75. Now, as per the VB static, for static load, we are calculating the AH, we are calculating the QI, base shear for static. But if we consider the dynamics or the time dependent force, that is the earthquake, for some duration of the time, we will have to consider the modal analysis. And for modal, we will go for the dynamic analysis, and the type of the analysis is called as the response spectrum method. For static analysis, we have the equivalent static analysis, and for dynamic analysis, we have the response spectrum method for dynamic. So these are the two different methods, one for static and one for dynamic. Now in response spectrum method, we will have the modal VB, we have AH, we have height of the building, we will have the modal pi I whole square. In static, we have this formula QI equals to VB times WIH square divided by summation WIH square for static. For dynamic, we have the formula PK equals to summation WI pi I upon WI pi I square. And this From this, we will calculate the lateral force Qi, and that Qi will be Ai into pi I Pk into Wi, where Aik is the design horizontal acceleration spectrum using the natural period of vibration mode for different modes. Mode 1, 2, 3, 4. We will have the pi that is for different modes, mode shape coefficient for ith floor and for kth mode. Means if we have 4 floor, floor 1 and then mode 1, floor 1 mode 2, floor 1 mode 3, floor 1 mode 4, floor 2 mode 1, floor 2 mode 2, floor 2 mode 3, and floor 2 mode 4 likewise. And pk will be calculated. From this we will form a table, and in tabular form we will form this uh, factors, and from this we will calculate the qi. As like here qi static, we will calculate the qi for the dynamic, that is qi key. Seismic weight will be calculated at the same total weight of the building at each floor. Now we will use the method. There are two methods for finding the value of lambda: square root of sum of the squares, that is SRRS method, and absolute sum. So for finding out the peak quantity lambda, due to all the modes, lambda equals to summation of under root summation of lambda k whole square, and where lambda k is the absolute value of quantity in mode kth for different modes, but we will take the kth mode value for that. And r is the number of modes being considered. If you are considering the 4 modes, a value of r will be 4, and that will be the summation from first, 2, 3, and 4th mode. The codal provisions. So in previous IS code, there was some importance factors given by 1.5 and 1. Now, as per the new IS code, importance factor for the buildings are given by 1.5, 1.2, 1. So this value 1.2 is added here. If we consider the previous IS code, IS 1890-2002, the two importance factors were there, 1.5 and 1. 1.5 was for important service and community buildings such as hospitals, schools. So importance factor was 1.5, and due to the 1.5, the ratio was increased by that 0.5 times. For general buildings, the ratio is 1. The factor is 1. Now, as per the 2016 IS code, the factor has been changed from 1.5 to 1.2 for those buildings which are residential and commercial buildings or structure with occupancy more than 200%. Otherwise, we could have taken it as a 1. So instead of 1, it is 1.2. And it is not that much important if then we are not considering 1.5. So for important buildings, we are considering 1.5, less important, but capacity more than 200%, 1.2. And for other buildings, it is 1. So this is the provision as per the 2016 IS code. This was based on the previous IS code, so it is changed. The response relation factor, that is the R, for OMRF, that is the ordinary moment resisting frame, SMRF, special moment resisting frames. All these are given by value 3, 5, then 4, 4.5. And if we have the structural wall systems like shear wall and other walls, bands, then it is given as the 1.5 to 2.5. So this is the classification for the R depending on the importance of our building and its used criteria and different structural elements. We will use the value of R. For dual system, it again changes from 3 to 5. If it is having the buildings having the flat slab, the value of R should be taken as 3. A change can be sometimes called as the major change, but the change from IS 2002, IS code 1893 of 2002, and the IS 1893 of 2016, the time period which was considered as a 4 second in the previous codal provision is now changed to the 6 second. And hence the spectra for equivalent static method has been converted from the limit of period to 4. It is now for the 6 second of the natural period. Again, it is both for the rock and hard soil, medium soil, soft soil. Both criteria same. Here this has been changed to the direct 2.5 value at this 0, which was not there. It was started at some 0.122, which 0.122 in the previous high score. Now it is started from this only. So this is the change from the previous criteria to this criteria, and the major change is from this time span. Now for these three, we have this three type of soil. For SA by G ratio, that is the design acceleration coefficient used in calculation of AH, Z by 2 I by R multiplied with SA by G. We have seen Z, we have seen I, we have seen R. Z zone factor 0.16, 0.24, I importance factor, and R response reduction factor. And then we have another factor, it is as the SA by G. Okay. Now we will see how the soils are there and how they are classified. So we have rock or hard soil, medium or stiff soil, and soft soil. So for this type of the soil, classification for determining the percentage increase in net bearing pressure and screen friction are given by the codal provisions. For this, we have well-graded gravel or well-graded sand. Now both are with less than 5% passing of 75 microns sieve, that is called as a fine. Then we have the well-graded gravel, which considers under the rock or hard soil. Now if we have the medium or steep soil, it is called as the poorly graded sand or poorly graded sand with gravel having no fines, and for which iron lies between 10 to 30. And for soft soil, n is less than 10. And for this, we will have the values of n depending on the desirable minimum corrected field value. For different zone, if you are zone 2, for depth of the depth below the ground up to the 5 meter, the value of n to be taken as 10 to 20. If we have on different zones like 3, 4, and 5, and if you excavate the ground up to the 5 or equals to 10, the value of n should be taken as 15 to 25. And from this, we will classify our soil as the soft soil, hard, or clay. Percentage increase in the allowable pressure should be 50 for rock and hard soil. For medium soft soil is 20, and for soft soil, no increase is allowable. Codal design philosophy is given by the equivalent ductility and for the behavior factor with equal elastic and inelastic deformation, because we are having the elastic as well as inelastic deformation, and both are to be considered for the ductility and behavior factors. Now we have the load combination. Now, as up to now, we have calculated the seismic forces, the earthquake loads in considering the two orthogonal direction, that is the x and y, and we are taken x direction earthquake force, then we will have to take full earthquake force in x direction plus 30% in y direction, and hence the load combination can be taken as the first combination full earthquake load in x direction, that is the ELX plus minus 0.3 ELY. Why 0.3? Because it is the 30% contribution of another orthogonal direction with full consideration of one orthogonal direction. So predominant in earthquake x direction, 30% in y direction should have to be considered, and hence formula becomes ELX plus minus 0.3 ELY. If we consider y direction is the predominant, ELY plus minus 0.3 ELXY, 30% in another orthogonal direction. If our main direction is y, then full, that is 100% in y direction, that is 1, and 0.3 means 30% in ELX. So these are the two combination, plus minus will lead to the 4 combination. Now another combination for the dead load, live load. We have for general construction, we take the first combination 1.5 dead load plus live load. Now for the earthquake shaking, we will consider 1.2 times dead load plus IL, that is the we will cover the live load, imposed load, that is live load, plus minus ELX plus minus 0.3 ELY, that is the for X direction. Now, if you consider for Y direction, same formula, but Y contribution will be 100% and X contribution will be 30%. So there are these four types of the combination will lead to the one, here 4, and these are the 4. Plus these again 4 combinations. So all these are the different load combinations, and we will design for the maximum load combination. The combination which gives the maximum load, we will design for that combination of the load. Now these were for the horizontal loads in X and Y direction, ELX, ELY. Now for considering ELX and ELY means it both are in the planar dimension along the X and Y. But what is about the vertical EQ effect? Now EQX, X direction, EQY, Y direction. For EQZ, we will call it as the design vertical earthquake effects, that is in Z direction. Why vertical effects have to be considered? Because it needs to be considered for some important types of the structure. We will consider the vertical earthquake effects in following condition, and those conditions are: structure is located in seismic zone 4 or 5. For major intensity, we will have to consider the vertical effect. If the structure has vertical or plan irregularity, we will consider the vertical effect also, as with the horizontal effect. If the structure is rested on the soft soil, that is for the settlement of the ground, we will use the vertical effect. For expansive soil, we will use the vertical effect. If it is a bridge, we will have to consider vertical effect, because in bridge the span is long, and hence the position of the both the pier remains at the different side at different places. Not like building, the two columns are having spacing of 6 meter, 4 meter. But in piers, abutments, or the bridges, the spacing or distance between two pier is large. That is, and hence vertical effect is to be considered. Structure having long span, that is the same. And if structure has horizontal overhangs or structural members or subsystem, if the structure is having horizontal overhangs, it will contribute to the overturning moment, and hence vertical effect of earthquake is to be considered. Likewise, the horizontal seismic coefficient and horizontal seismic effects in EQX and EQY direction, we have considered only X and Y. 100% X direction, then 30% Y. 100% in Y direction, then 30% X. In the same way, for 3D equation, 3D earthquake ground shaking, X, Y, and then Z, we will have to convert the formula as 100% X, 30% in Y and Z. That is ELX plus minus 0.3 ELY, plus minus 0.3 ELZ. Likewise, the formula has changed from only from X to Y. It is now X, Y, and Z orientation. X is one direction, Y is orthogonal to X direction, and Z is the height along this height of the building, that is the depth. And hence these are the different combination for the 3D ground shaking, which is to be considered as a worst case for the building frames lying in the zone 4 or 5, for bridges, for long span structures, and hence our final EL will be under root ELX whole square plus ELY whole square plus ELZ whole square. That is the combination of this as per the IS 189/2016 given by the codal provisions. Some section properties in terms of the stiffness or the moment of inertia, and hence for structural analysis, the moment of inertia shall be taken as, if it is RC frame, RC or masonry structure, 70% of I gross, and I gross to be calculated as per the, and calculated I if the building is symmetrical, rectangular, BDQ by 12, but it is unsymmetrical, you will have to calculate the I gross depend by taking the individual element. It is 70% by I gross column, and I gross for the beam is 0.35, that is 35%. For steel structure, total I will have to be considered. Soil structure interaction becomes important for building resting on the flexible soil, and hence it is to be considered with the sectional properties. Foundation, for as per the settlement, failure of the strata, then for different zones, different correlation values, corrected values are to be taken. as seen. The definition of the soft story irregularity is little change. In the previous IS code, the soft story is termed as the one in which lateral stiffness is less than the 70% that of the story above it, or less than 80% of the above lateral stiffness of the 3-story above. Now it is changed from 70 to 60% and that from 80 to 70%. If you read the sentence, you will understand the meaning of the sentence. Like a soft story, the definition of weak story is also little changed. So as per as 2002 definition, a little change for these weak and soft stories. So I will not read this. Weak story is called as the story. In a simple way, the story which is weaker than the story above it or below it is termed as the weak story. Torsional effect is to be considered, and for design eccentricity, EDI for ith floor shall be taken as EDI equals to 1.5 times ESI plus 0.05 BI or ESI minus 0.05 BI. That is the width and eccentricity contributes to the equivalent E, that is the eccentricity, and hence we have the moment equals to P into E, that is the total load into eccentricity. Some guidelines of IS 13920 are also incorporated in this presentation, because for data design and both these IS code rely on each other for specific provisions. But I will not go in IS 13920 because tomorrow Professor English sir will focus on the IS 13920. This will be covered tomorrow. Now, while talking about the IS 1893, what are the major changes incorporated from 2002 IS code to 2016 IS code? The first which was seen, or the basic, is the design spectra, which was 4 seconds previous. Now it is up to the 6 seconds of the natural period. That is given for the 3 different types of the soil. We have seen both the spectra for SA by G ratio. Now, same design spectra corresponding to 5% damping are specified for all buildings, irrespective of the material. Because if you are taking the steel building, there are some different types of the damping. Damping in the RC building and steel building different. But if the steel building are having the 5% damping, the same formula can be used. The intermediate importance category of building for the density of occupancy incorporated, that was for the value of importance factor as 1.2, because in previous IS code 1.5 and 1 factor was there. Now the factor are 1.5, 1.2 and 1. So 1.2 is included. Now building design for at least minimum lateral force. Now here we are considering the EQX, then Y, and we are considering the 3-dimensional effect X, Y, and Z, and the combination of this. Now the clarity regarding the irregularity, plan, mass irregularity, stiffness irregularity, vertical irregularity are incorporated in this IS code. Effect of masonry infill walls are included, and the formula for time period, that is TA, for the shear wall is also included. Simplified procedure for evaluating the liquefaction of potential acid. We have not seen the liquefaction criteria here, but all these are the revisions incorporated in this IS code 1890-2016 than that of the previous IS code. Now again, while designing the structural elements, we will go for the confinement of the reinforcements, and the formation of the plastic hinges are to be considered, which we generally consider for the plastic moments. So these are some guidelines. End of the beams up to length 2D, that is large negative moments and shears occurs. Moment reversal is positive. End of the column over 1/6 of the clearance height. Beam column joint, reversible local shear causes diagonal cracking, and all these to be incorporated for considering the plastic moment for plastic hinge formation, or for considering the plastic moments for the critical zones of the RC frames. Drilling of the beam general guidelines. Now I have given some guidelines here for the confinement of the reinforcement. Minimum compression steel shall be greater than 0.5 st. Generally, we will take the at end of the slab, we will take 0.5 of the AST, but should not be go beyond or lesser than the 0.5. That is the guidelines. Minimum 2 bars throughout the beam at top and the bottom. Full bond length, development length plus 10 times diameter of bar should be available. Splice near the quarter span, that is 50%, should be provided. Lap length LD to be calculated. Confined within stirrups, space about 150 mm. Wave width greater than 200 mm. It should not be less than 200 mm as specified by the IS code. Again, the width of the column is also specified by giving the formula 20 dB. Overall depth less than 25% of clear span that we have seen. Longitudinal reinforcement AST minimum shall be 0.24 root of FC under FY. So all these are the drilling of the beams with the confinement. Some diagrams I am shown here. So these are not from the IS code, are not exactly required for this, but some diagrams are shown here how to avoid the cracking, how to provide the reinforcement. The top figure, this continuous of reinforcement is maintained here. Now the continuous reinforcement at the top side, at the top of this beam, which is entered in this area LDT, so we'll avoid the crack. For grid beam, how to provide the reinforcement. A main beam and secondary beam with the hanger bars to avoid the crack at this location. Again, some different types of detailing which we generally do. We provide this type of detailing in our drawings, but not necessarily these are to be adopted by the bar binders and at the actual site. But some examples are given here how to provide the development length and up to how much distance and how should be the arrangement. Sloping beams to avoid the crack at the corner junction, providing the bars up to this point and then bending it at this point, so avoiding the failure at this junction due to the reinforcement unavailability. Haunch beams, correct detailing of the reinforcement. This we know already. Reinforcement, main reinforcement, shears and torsional. Cantilever beams have the reinforcement in the different layers depending on the load. For the opening, the position of the reinforcement. So this type of the detailing will for vibrational forces. So I will stop here. I have almost taken the 1 hour for the talk on the IS 1893 part 1. I have covered the different formulae of VB static and VB dynamic also with the codal provisions which are incorporated in the IS 2016 depending on the addition of the vertical acceleration coefficients and irregularities, then SFIG ratio for time span of 6 seconds. That were the introduction of the new things in this IS code. And now I will conclude my session here. If you have any question, then you can ask me. Yes, I think, let me share again the screen. It is disappeared. Okay. Yes. Okay. So if you have any query, you can ask me. Are the participant allowed to put the message?
So there are certain questions in chat box.
Let the participant allow to put the message in the chat box, so that they can put the because I'm unable to see the chat box.
Okay. So there is one question from Raj Bhatia, sir.
Okay, so you can ask me any question if you have the query. Can you please text me the message? Can you write if anyone have the query, so that I will try to answer your queries.
Dr.
I am unable to
Vankade,
see
sir.
the chat box.
May I just read the message for you?
Yes, sir. Can you speak loudly, Shrikant sir?
Sir. There is a question from Ravindra Golia, sir.
Okay, sir.
That is, SA by G normally depends upon time period
Yes,
of the
yes,
building,
yes,
but for AV, the value of SA by G is directly taken as 2.5.
yes.
He want to ask any specific reason.
Okay, I will give the answer. For solving the problems, we will solve the problem for AH. We will take formula AH equals to Z by 2 I by R SA by G. We will calculate I from the I code. We will take value of R. We will take I by R, SA by. Now when we will move to the SA by G, generally for solving the problems in our curriculum, we have some symmetric type of the structure. And again, when we calculate TA, we used to have TA as formula 0.09 under root that D. So when you will use that formula and you have that combination, you will many of times get the value as 2.5. But if you go for this, if you solve variety of problems by changing the data, you will find that your SA by G value will be changed. Now you try to solve a problem which is having the shear wall. Let me see the formula. Yes. You change the type of the soil. You change the type of the soil. You take different data. You will definitely get the different SA by G value than that of the 2.5. You just change your data. Okay. Many times you will get 2.5 value, but you change the data of your problem. You change the data, you go for some different type of soil, you go from, you incorporate the shear wall, you change it, you will get different SA by G value. Even sometimes we observe that value of that AH also do not change for many types of the problem. So if you want the change value, you change the data of your problem, you will definitely get the different values. Is there any other question?
So there is a question from Satyajit Patil, sir. How the response reduction factor R is calculated?
Response reduction factor. So the response reduction factor depends on the ductility. Response reduction factor depends on ductility. The ductility behavior of the structure decides the response, and hence the response in earthquakes should be reduced by this value so as to get the realistic behavior. Otherwise, what will happen? The structure will be steep and it will not respond according to the earthquake shaking, that is the ground motion, and hence it is incorporated. Now, response reduction factor is calculated depending on this reduction in the ductility. So I don't have its formula, but the proper description is given in the IS code. Let me see if we have incorporated the response factor. Let me go. This is important factor. So this is the response readiness factor. Now, if we consider the RC frame, ordinary moment resisting frame, the response is this tip, and we have the formula Z by 2 I upon R. So R is in the denominator. R appears in the denominator. If value of R increases, the value of AH decreases. And hence, we have to consider the special frames to have the more R values. Okay, so this depends on that AH, means R directly, means R inversely affects the value of AH. It is in denominator. So these are the different value of R, response factors.
Hello.
Yes.
Is there any IS codal provision which will govern the cross-sectional increase or decrease of the building with respect to height? I mean to say ductility change.
Okay. So now in Indian standard codes, we have the specified codes. In previous, we had the IS 456 2000 for general RCC construction, where only dead load and live load is considered. Now, when the picture of the earthquake comes in the previous years, the incorporation of IS 1893 was done. Now, at that time, IS 1893 was only one book, and which was considering the entire type of the structure. But this was not the fact. Later on, we understood that the behavior of the bridge is different than the behavior of the building. Now we have specified building codal provision for IS 190 part 1, part 2, 3 and 4 specified for the bridges or water tanks and other type of the structure. Now the fact is that after that we come to know that the building having the a much height, that is for tall buildings, the rather than the earthquake effects, wind effects is predominant, and hence we are following the codal provisions of the wind effect for tall buildings. Now we have understood in building also there are different categories. Now we will now means our Bureau of Indian Standard will move to the different types of IS code for earthquake provisions, wind provisions, and again in that RCC codal provisions, steel tower building codal provisions. Now at this time we don't have any such IS code which considers all these criteria, but we hope, we assure that in future we will get such IS code in which the specified for tall buildings, the codal provisions will be given for wind effect on tall buildings of RCC, wind effect on RC steel buildings on RC will be there. So we will wait for this type of IS code, but at this moment we don't have such specified IS code.
Thank
Now
you.
we are following the general guidelines given in the IS code. For wind effect, we are considering the IS 875. For earthquake, we are considering the IS 1893 and 13920. So we are using all 2-3 types of IS code at the same time, and we are taking the guidelines from this 2-3 IS code at a time, and we are designing our structure based on these guidelines criteria. But there is no such IS code that we in that one building and for one type of parameters. So that is not the case at this present.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Okay. So any other question? I have taken the IS 1893 part 1. I think tomorrow part 2, 3 will be taken by the OR Jaiswal sir and English sir. So they will talk on the water tanks and the specifications for the water tanks, liquid storage tanks. Is there any other questions?
Few questions are there, but that we will take in another session. So tomorrow again when there is a session, so first we will try to address some of the questions from the participants asked, and then we will proceed for the further session. Now we have to start with the another next session at 2:30.
Okay.
So I think that we will stop here today for this meeting, and whatever the questions will be there, I will be forwarding it to the Dr. Rajan Wankhede sir, and then we will try to answer all these questions in subsequent meetings, and thereby we will continue our STDP.
Okay, sir. So tomorrow I will take one review on this session, and I will address the question. I will give the answer to all the questions, and then tomorrow I will talk on the soil structure interaction. That one of the part from this codal provisions and how to consider it in the actual analysis of the building frames. So that we will move in the tomorrow's lecture. So we will stop now, and I think I should take a leave now for today's from today's lecture.
So
Okay,
thank
sir.
you once again, sir, for having this wonderful session for this today's third session. And we will hope that the participants has liked this, and all the questions will be addressed by Dr. Rajan Wankade sir in forthcoming sessions. And thank you for being with us for this third session. And soon we will start now another third session at 2:30. So goodbye here for this session. Thank you once again for participating this STDP. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. So I will stop here.
Thank you.